Good morning, Florida lacrosse fans. Lee Roggenberg, Florida Lacrosse News. Morning coffee. Pretty heavy day of district play yesterday. Get to that. We'll get to the results in a little bit. First, want to do a little shout out. Unfortunately, I forgot yesterday. Friend of the channel, Booker Corrigan, was doing one of his MIAA broadcasts with Bob Schreiber online, and he gave a nice compliment to the website during the broadcast. We appreciate it, Booker, and we look forward to you continuing to enjoy our content as we go forward. Thank you, Booker. Okay. Before I get to the results, there's something I want to sort of discuss a little bit. It's about the concept of team culture at the high school level, and something that we need to emphasize more in it. Usually, when we think of team culture on a sports team, it's sort of the overriding definition of how the program itself runs. The expectations of the players, the expectations of parents, the expectations of the coaches, behavioral issues off the field. Certainly in a year like this, it extended to discussions on making sure to avoid large groups, being careful about partying after games, things like that, that could have easily led to a spread of COVID within the team structure. There's also, obviously things like behavior towards others. At the college level, in many instances, it's the requirement of giving back to the community. And certainly at the high school level, there's some of that too. But there's one thing that I've been noticing lately that we do have to kind of start to refocus ourselves on as a lacrosse community. And that's the issue of sportsmanship within the game itself, during the game, both from the players on the field and the stands. This is one that is really up to the individual person. Even though we talk about within the team culture, you still as the individual have to be the ones that perform and inculcate this into your approaches. I've last two games I've attended, last night's game at St. John Paul Oxbridge, and a game that Boca hosted against Spanish River on Tuesday. There were a couple of incidents during the game where players have just kind of gotten away from respecting each other enough on the field. This is a physical game. It's an emotional game. There's going to be trash talking. I'm not crazy about it, but as long as it stays moderate, it stays within the context of the play and not the individual person, I can live with that. The one thing that I can't live with is the irresponsibility when it comes to high hits and the use of the stick. Back in 2014, when I was covering games, there were games that I covered in the playoff run where there were late hits to the head that caused players to miss a Final Four game, and in a Final Four game to miss a championship game. It's just not acceptable in order to bring forward this sport, to keep allowing these issues to hurt the the vision of the game and the way it's perceived by others. Last night at St. John Paul, about 2 minutes to go, an Oxbridge player was hit. To be honest, I couldn't see it cleanly because based on the angle, I was looking from the front. And the problem was that the player who was injured was lying on the ground for at least 10 minutes and didn't move. That's a scary thing. It's the type of thing that keeps younger parents from not necessarily wanting their kids to play our great sport. The history of this sport indicated that this was a game to be played to honor the creator and the Native American tribe. You're not honoring the vision of the sport if you're not more responsible towards your opponent. It's perfectly okay to hit them hard in the context of the rules. But remember, we have taken targeting and late hits. We've taken a focus on those two things for a reason. And that reason is that's where the gratuitous injury occurs. And that's something we just don't need in the sport. Anyone who was at the field last night knows what I'm talking about. It was difficult. I'm not blaming anyone because I couldn't tell how he was injured. But it clearly had to have been an errant stick that was not properly used on the field of play. Also back in 2014, I was blessed to have been given the South Florida chapter of U.S. Lacrosse, the Man of the Year Award. And in my talk, I made a very simple plea. Players, I'm going to be emphasizing this every week going forward. The head and the neck are out of bounds. Under no circumstance should your stick be used in a cross-check fashion at the neck and the head. That is just you being lazy and you not respecting your opponent enough. You can make every play you need to do without hitting those two areas. Kids, coaches, part of the team culture, please, going forward, is to discuss this particular issue. We don't need the gratuitous shot. Please work on it. Obviously, late in the season, club coaches, remind your players the head and the neck are off limits. We don't need it. If you can't control your stick, you shouldn't be out there. If you can't control your emotions to the point where you are not taking a cheap shot at another player, even in response to a cheap shot of their own, then you don't belong out there playing our sport. You've got to be more respectable towards your opponents. It's a tough enough game as is. This game requires courage. For some of you younger players who don't understand that comment, look up George Boyardi. You can look up a couple of the other players who have passed away on a field because they took a shot to the chest. It's already tough enough without adding the gratuitous stuff that can be easily controlled if you just think about it. No head, no neck going forward. Okay. Let's get to last night's scores on the boys' side. Ransom Everglades, Westminster Christian was postponed to today. Berkeley Prep with the 10-7 win over Calvary Christian Tampa. Steinbrenner, the 13-12 win over East Lake. They'll be facing Mitchell, I believe, for the district title. Holy Trinity, unfortunately, we had another COVID issue pop up. Holy Trinity was set to host West Shore a couple of hours before the game. West Shore had to forfeit the game due to a COVID issue. So, again, another one. Buchholz, 300 miles, travels to Niceville, pulls out the 8-7 win. Congratulations to you guys. That's a great accomplishment. Menendez, 6-5 over St. Augustine. Dr. Phillips, 15-4 over Eastridge. Pinecrest, 15-4 over Cardinal Gibbons. Calvary, American Heritage Plantation avenges the regular season loss against Calvary Christian Fort Lauderdale. Cocoa Beach with the easy win over Melbourne Central Catholic. Gulf Coast, Riverdale, I don't have the score on that. If it was played, I doubt it would have been close. Immokalee ends their most successful season in history. They fall to Naples 9-1. Berlin Jesuit, the easy win over Miami Country Day. Lake Highland, easy over Trinity Prep. Mitchell, easy over Wiregrass Ranch. McClay, easy over Seacoast Collegiate. Forest of an easy win over Lincoln. Gulf Breeze, 20-2 over Escambia. St. Andrews, 13-2 over Kings. South Walton, easy over Fort Walton Beach. Oak Hall, the easy win over Matanzas. Windermere shuts out Olympia. Bishop Moore sets up the district final of Lake Highland with a 16-6 win over First Academy. Community School Naples, 14-2 over Barron Collier. Riverview Sarasota with the easy win over Venice. And then in the premier game last night, game I covered, we'll have the article up later today. Oxbridge goes to St. John Paul, comes away with the 11-8 win. Congratulations to Coach Ross and the program on to face St. Andrews on Friday night. The game itself, St. John Paul got off to a nice start in the first quarter, led 2-0 after, could have been worse. And Oxbridge took advantage of still being in the game. Played a terrific second quarter, ran off 7-1, and basically was able to keep that lead pretty much the rest of the game, as I think St. John Paul only got within 3 at any point in the second half. Now, after the game, you kind of saw the good side of the emotions. You know, even though St. John Paul was very disappointed in how the season ended, I watched the interactions between the players and the coaches afterwards. There was no recriminations. There was no finger pointing or critique. It was a lot of tears, and that's kind of I see that sometimes. Certainly I see it when a team that felt it should have gone farther did not, and it felt that I just was glad to see that side of the emotion. This is for a lot of these kids, this is it. And that's why a lot of times why these emotions come out. So, look forward to seeing how I break down the game a little bit. Okay. On the girls' side, Key West, big win over Miami Country Day. Cypress Bay, 9-7 over Palmetto. Community School, the easy win over Lely. Vieira, 11-8 over South Fork. East Lake, 12-6 over Sickles. I don't have the Northeast and Clearwater result. Gulf Breeze, easy win over Pensacola. Western with an easy win over Flanagan. Ransom Everglades, easily over Gulliver Prep. We have St. Thomas, easy over Taravella. Vero Beach with an easy win over Sebastian River. And in the big game of the night, we had Stoneman Douglas with the 21-9 win over previously undefeated Boca. Stoneman winning that district. Congrats to them. Now, quickly before we get to tonight's games, Sunshine State Conference on the men, Lynn 13-8 over Florida Southern. Caleb Wells, 3 goals for Lynn. Davis Diamond, a goal and 4 assists for the former St. Andrews star. 4 of those 2 goals each. 8 different goal scorers for Florida Southern in that game. Palm Beach Atlantic and Florida Tech and St. Leo and Tampa were both postponed. On the women's side, Florida Southern 18-2 over Lynn. Florida, there was no stats on that one available yet. Florida Tech 19-13 over Palm Beach Atlantic. Alexis Townsend, 5 goals for Florida Tech. Molly Kaplan and Rachel Johnson, 4 goals each. Kiki Sonati with 7 goals and 1 assist for Palm Beach Atlantic in the loss. Tampa 15-14 in overtime at St. Leo. Gia Colombo, 6 goals for Tampa. Ashley Wilczynski, 6 goals, 3 assists, and the losing cause for St. Leo. Weber women, final game of the season, lost 23-2 to Life of Georgia. That ends their first season. Congrats for having the season. Even with COVID, we look forward to seeing the program grow over time. Premier Lacrosse League announced closest venue to Florida is in Atlanta, June 11th to the 13th. If you feel like making the drive, maybe some of those up north would prefer to maybe take that trip also. On tonight's schedule, on the girls' side, Ponte Vedra is hosting Episcopal. Pinecrest is hosting American Heritage Plantation. Steinbrenner, Newsom, Lake Highland Prep, Haggerty, Berkeley are all in action tonight and should win comfortably based on what I'm seeing out of the opponents. And then we have Eastridge at 17-1, also in action tonight, paying attention to them as we go forward. Now on the boys' side, we've got some district finals tonight. Columbus and West Broward. Columbus hosting West Broward. That should be a beauty. Cardinal Mooney hosting Canterbury. Obviously, 1-goal game in the regular season. Both teams having very nice years. Let's see if we have see if that holds same way. Pinecrest is hosting American Heritage Plantation. Vieira is hosting Vero Beach. Episcopal School is hosting Bowls. That's also should be a beauty. Can Episcopal overcome a red-hot Bowls team that handled them last week? Boca Raton is hosting Stoneman, game I'll be at. Lake Mary is hosting Oviedo. We'll see how important the home field advantage turned out to be. Both teams having just fabulous years. Again, too bad that one of them has to go home. St. Stephen's Episcopal is going to be playing Northside Christian, 2 teams that, as far as I know, have never made a playoff bracket before. So one of them will be going on. Benjamin is hosting St. Edward's. That's a rematch of a pretty good game that I covered earlier in the year. St. Edward's came on strong. Benjamin is basically played to their ranking most of the year. That should be a terrific game up there. Ponte Vedra is hosting Creekside. I don't really have to say much more about that one right now. We'll see how Creekside handles the rematch too. Pensacola Catholic is hosting West Florida. Again, 2 teams that will be first timers in a bracket either way. Montverde is hosting All Saints Academy. Chris Spaulding looking to get back to the brackets again since he's had come back to Florida. Okay, so one last time, kids, coaches, everyone, the head and the neck are off limits. There's no excuse, period. Stay away from it. Respect your opponents just as much as you respect your teammates. And one last thing about that, which I did notice once in a while. If there's a big hit and someone's hurt from it, unfortunately, a couple of times I've seen benches cheer the hit before they saw the result. Try to keep that under control too. It's not a very good look. and it's just going to make you feel bad. You see a big hit, don't react right away. Give it 3, 4, 5 seconds and see if it's appropriate or not. Okay, this is Lee Roggenberg saying get out to a game, lay off the refs, enjoy whatever you can tonight, and saying so long from the Sunshine State.